Hello, moon lovers, garden enthusiasts, and gardeners at heart. Welcome once again to Faselunar, your space to connect with nature's rhythms and boost the magic in your crops. June is here, a month that brings the promise of the solstice, the longest days of the year, and an explosion of life in our gardens. And as always, we want to ask ourselves, how can we collaborate with the moon to make this June even more spectacular in our own little paradise? Many of you already know the secret, that ancestral wisdom that teaches us how lunar phases subtly influence the behavior of sap in plants and moisture in the soil, much like how the moon manages the ocean tides. This isn't esoteric magic, but rather observing and applying natural logic that can make a noticeable difference in the health, vigor, and productivity of our plants. Following this calendar is an obligation, but an invitation to tune into a cosmic pulse that can turn our work in the garden into a harmonious and fruitful dance. So, if you're ready to discover the secrets that June's moon holds for your planting and care, join me on this journey. Before we break down the specific lunar calendar for this month, I'd love to know what projects you have underway. What seeds have you already sown that are germinating or growing in your seed beds? Perhaps some delicious squash or pumpkins, or maybe some juicy tomatoes longing for sun in our lands. Tell me in the comments. I'm excited to hear your plans and how the Faselunar community is preparing for this month. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single one of our monthly lunar tips. To better understand how we'll apply this in June, let's quickly recall what each moon phase generally suggests. The new moon is a time of apparent rest, but ideal for preparing the soil and for sowing those plants whose leaves we use, as the energy is concentrated underground but ready to rise. The waxing moon, with its increasing light, pushes sap upwards, favoring the growth of everything that develops above ground: leaves, stems, flowers, and fruits. The full moon represents the highest point of this ascending energy, an optimal time for harvesting fruits and collecting herbs, when their properties are at their peak. Finally, the waning moon directs energy back down, toward the roots, being ideal for sowing tubers like potatoes or cassava for cleanup pruning. And with these principles in mind, let's see how this translates to June. We start the month with a wonderful waxing moon, which will extend from June 1st to June 10th. On June 2nd, we'll reach the first quarter, a perfect point of balance before the moon continues its path to fullness in its waxing gibbous phase until 10th. Throughout this period, the vital energy of the plants is in full ascent, and the growing moonlight accompanies this impulse. It is, without a doubt, the star moment to sow those plants from which we expect fruits and flowers. Think of your tomatoes, chili peppers, cucumbers, green beans, and of course, summer queens like watermelons and squash or pumpkins. It's also an excellent time to sow leafy vegetables like lettuce, spinach, or Swiss chard if you want continuous production, or even ornamental flowers like impatiens or sunflowers that will brighten your garden. If you have seedlings ready to be moved to their final spot, this waxing phase will provide them with excellent establishment and vigorous development. Fertilization is also key now. Apply organic fertilizers rich in nitrogen and potassium to stimulate aerial growth and flower formation. And for those who work with fruit trees like avocados or even rose bushes, this is a propitious phase for grafting, as the active sap will facilitate the union and success of the procedure. Then, on June 11th, the moon will gift us its maximum splendor, the full moon. This is a day of peak energy, where the light and lunar influence are at their zenith. It's the perfect time to harvest fruits and vegetables that have reached their optimal ripeness. You'll notice their flavor is more intense, and their nutritional properties are enhanced. If you grow aromatic or medicinal herbs like coriander, parsley, or chamomile, collect them now. Their concentration of essential oils and active ingredients will be higher. As for pruning, if you need to stimulate more foliage growth in a plant or remove spent flowers to encourage new ones, the full moon could be a good time, as the plant will respond vigorously to the stimulus. From June 12th to June 24th, we will enter the waning moon phase. We'll start with the waning gibbous, pass through the last quarter on June 18th, and see how the moonlight progressively decreases until it almost disappears. During this stage, the plant's energy is directed downwards, concentrating in the roots and underground parts. This makes it the ideal phase for sowing root and tuber plants. If your climate allows, it's time for carrots, turnips, radishes, or beets. And for our friends in tropical climates, it's an excellent period for sowing cassava or sweet potatoes, as it will favor robust root development. Soil work also benefits. It's a good time to till, break up the soil, aerate it, and prepare new beds, as the soil will be more receptive and growing plants will suffer less stress. It's also the perfect phase to fertilize the soil with compost or well-rotted manure, allowing nutrients to integrate deeply. If you have to deal with weeds, remove them during the waning phase. you'll notice they take longer to regrow. And if you have a compost bin, this is the time to add new material. Finally, clean up pruning to remove dry or diseased branches, or those you want control to shape the plant, is more effective now, as the plant will lose less sap and healing will be faster and more efficient. On June 25th, the sky will darken to make way for the new moon. This is a phase of energy pause, a moment of introspection and rest of garden and planning for the gardener. Traditionally, during the new moon, direct sowing and transplanting are avoided, as vital energy is at its lowest point. However, some gardeners take the opportunity to sow very fast-growing leafy plants, like certain varieties of lettuce or arugula, seeking to have the ascending energy of the imminent waxing moon boost their germination. It's an option, but the main focus of the new moon should be on preparing the ground. Continue improving seed beds, add organic amendments, clean tools, and organize the workspace for the next cycle. And the cycle, as always, renews itself. From June 26th to June 30th, the moon will begin its waxing phase again. This is a new surge of ascending energy, a perfect window to resume sowing leafy plants, flowers, and those fruit-bearing plants with shorter cycles that you want to take advantage of before summer advances further. It's an excellent time to give a final push to warm season sowings and to continue with the general care plants already in full development. You should consider your particular microclimate and local varieties. What did you think of these lunar tips for June? Do you already have experience applying the lunar calendar in your gardens? What lunar tricks do you use? Or perhaps you have a favorite plant that you always sow in June following these guidelines. I'd love for you to share your experiences, your doubts, your successes, and also your learnings in the comments. Remember that every shared experience enriches our entire community of passionate lunatics. If this content has been useful and inspiring to you, and you want to continue delving into how to cultivate in harmony with the lunar cycles, I cordially invite you to subscribe to Faselunar and, very importantly, to activate that notification bell. That way, you'll be the first to know when we publish our next video, full of more tips and secrets for a prosperous and happy garden. Connecting with these rhythms of our ancestors is a beautiful way to understand that we are part of a much larger whole. A garden cultivated with the moon is not only more productive, but also feels more in harmony, more alive. Next month, we'll return with the lunar calendar for July, unveiling new opportunities for your plants. Until then, I wish you happy planting. May June's energy boost your crops, and may the moon always guide you on your green path. See you in the next video.